Well, it has been a while, hasn't it? Hi, I'm Aneta, artist and illustrator. This video is going to be a bit chatty with lots of clips of me painting and drawing that I've gathered over the past 5 months. At first, I intended to keep uploading my usual videos with painting footage and process shots, but the editing part felt like a chore. Over time, I got annoyed, I guess. I simply got tired of constantly having a camera above my head or hanging over my shoulder. And I know it's a struggle for many artists who create content. I just had to eliminate distractions. And a lot has happened. It feels like an eternity ago now, but some of you may have noticed a painting in the background of my last video. I didn't show it properly because it was being prepared for an exhibition that took place in February. The exhibition was organized by a wonderful lady who owns a very small library in my town. The library focuses mostly on cats, occult topics, and well-being products. She organized an exhibition inspired by tarot cards. And when I found out about it, I just couldn't stop thinking about it. I immediately decided to aim for something big. I presented 2 paintings. One was the High Priestess and the other was the Fool beginning his journey. I also added some Easter eggs related to the whole event inside the painting, hence the format. For me, it finally felt like a chance to really show what I could do. I wouldn't necessarily advise waiting until you feel ready when it comes to exhibiting your work. I did that in the past. I would never send my art to any kind of contest or exhibition because I thought there would always be someone better than me. Honestly, that doesn't matter. In my case, yes, I was being strategic. I wanted to make a strong impression and be noticed by many people as possible, but the people who submitted their work had very different skill levels. There was also photography. So the exhibition was a great success. So many people participated. I sold both paintings and I received so much positive feedback and encouragement. It was one of those moments that reminded me that I'm not doing all of this for nothing and that success is not just something that happens to other people. Not long ago, I was convinced that all those lucky people working in the arts were somehow the chosen ones, because I was never as lucky as some people seem to be, because I didn't finish a prestigious school or meet the right people at the right place and time, you know. I thought I was never meant to get anything out of what I made, but in reality what I did was simply take the first step. It also made me realize something important. This is for those of you who, despite the AI apocalypse, still feel the need to create, especially on a professional level. If there is something you truly love doing, you shouldn't give up on it. Painting and drawing feel like a kind of inner strength for me. If art is more than just a hobby, if you take it seriously, it becomes a part of who you are. That is something I felt very strongly after that exhibition. Because of all the encouragement I received, I started working on something new. I am planning to make my own exhibition based on the 22 major arcana tarot cards. A full deck would be ideal, of course, but I am still at a very early stage. Most of what I have right now are finished sketches for the first 7 cards, but I'm not ready to share them yet. I don't want to jinx it. After the show, I also felt the need for a little break. Not a break from drawing, but a break from large projects. Experiment a little and just have fun. I also discovered that small pieces like the A5 format can be great to sell online at a more accessible price. They can also function as miniature concepts that might eventually grow into something larger. My newest piece is actually one of those larger works It was inspired by a painting by the French artist Bouguereau showing a bacchante riding a jaguar, I believe. What I loved about it was that the animal wasn't perfectly drawn. If you look closely, you can tell that the artist wasn't focused on perfect anatomy, or maybe he simply didn't have the opportunity to study the animal in person. I don't know, but that is exactly what I liked about it. I wanted to create my own version since I'm working on that tarot themed exhibition. I thought it would be nice to hang something at the entrance as a sort of introduction. I decided to give the character a different role. I imagined her as a witch. She carries a broom and rides a huge black cat, although at this point it probably looks more like a puma. I mainly used watercolours and gouache. So as you can probably tell, maybe this is exactly what I needed. Small amount of reassurance that what I'm doing actually makes sense, and permission to let go of that part of myself where I questioned every single step. I'm still convinced that the amount of work I've put in and continue to put in is worth it. Also because of all the time I've spent drawing over the past few months, I've also made progress. I can now visually recognize mistakes that I shouldn't be making anymore. You know, overall, I worked in many places throughout my life. Some were okay, some were terrible. In none of them did I ever feel like I truly belonged. I never really cared much about what was happening inside those workplaces. I was content as long as I could do my daily routine, but as soon as someone wanted to improve something and involve me more deeply, I felt incredible resistance. Every single time I had to force myself. You cannot fake being someone you're not. And the imposter syndrome that comes from spending years in places that go completely against your ambitions can be a form of torture. Anyway, that's easier said than done, of course. So, all in all, I haven't achieved anything spectacular. I'm not here with a dramatic story about how I made hundreds of thousands of dollars with a small business, or that I was discovered and it was super successful. What I mean is this: don't give up yet. Be consistent. Develop that sweet obsession, because in 1 month, maybe nothing will happen, but over a few years, who knows? In the meantime, enjoy that path. One last thing I've learned, hard work alone is not enough. And I know a handful of introverts who manage to stay in their cocoons and still make a living from art. It is possible, but a lot of it is about relationships. Conversations and the people you meet along the way. Social media, sure, we can't really go without it nowadays, but I feel like we've slowly coming back to our roots. Not every person out there is trying to destroy you or make fun of you. We are often too self-centered and too preoccupied about our own limits, and we forget that every person has a story. We've all had upward moments, so go out and talk to people. Ask questions, show interest. Maybe you're exactly the person someone else needs to meet. And with this being said, I actually have nothing else to say. Thanks for watching, and take care.